Hey, so we are back with a brand new movie on What If Naruto and Diana of Themyscira celebrates Christmas as a couple movie, but before we start, be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Now let's begin the story. After becoming the hero of his world and having a family of his own, Naruto was dying from the injuries from his final battle. Those injuries, as well as those from all of the strain that he put on his body throughout his life, was the final straw, and his body broke down. However, the blonde was glad that this happened at this time, so that he could witness Boruto and Himawari grown into the adults that they had become. When he knew his last moments, Naruto told the nine-tailed fox that had been sealed inside him his entire life that he could leave his body. Kurama denied this request, telling Naruto he would stay with the first person whom he trusted till the end, knowing that he would eventually reform. Naruto then left this world with a smile on his face, not knowing that a god from a different dimension having other plans for the both of them. It was a peaceful day for Hippolyta, smiling as she was watching her 5-year-old daughter Diana playing in the garden. Suddenly she felt a strange sensation in her stomach as she looked down to see the glow emitting. Before she could even think about what is going on, Hera appeared before her. "I will explain what is going on, Hippolyta." The queen of Themyscira was stunned by seeing the goddess. "What has happened to grace me with your presence, my goddess? There was a champion from another dimension that I believe will be a great force good here, even capable of handling gods that may get out of line." Hera answered. Hippolyta smiles. "So you have graced me with another daughter." Knowing that she would be experienced that miracle of giving life this time. "I never said that the champion was female." The goddess smirked, knowing that Hippolyta would think that. The queen was stunned by Hera's statement. "You don't mean?" Not being able to finish her sentence before being interrupted. "Yes, the child inside you is not a female, but a male." The goddess then decided to show Hippolyta images of the boy growing up, hoping that it would be a bonding experience for the two. Seeing the look on the queen's face, Hera departed, but not before telling her the champion's name. "His name is Naruto." The queen of Themyscira smiles, thinking about the future prince of the Amazons, as she called her daughter over to her. The young girl asks, "What is wrong, mother?" Noticing her mother's change of emotion. "Well, Diana, Hera has graced me with another child." Hippolyta smiled at the young child. The young girl, overflowing with excitement, cheered. "You mean I will have a baby sister?" "No, the goddess Hera blessed us with the future prince of Themyscira, my daughter." Hippolyta patted Diana's head. Much to her mother's surprise, Diana was even more excited at the notion of having a baby brother. Diana asked where her little brother was, and her mother grabbed her tiny hand to place it on her stomach. "He is in here?" Diana asked, still confused on why her baby brother was in her mother's stomach. "Yes, my child. Your baby brother is growing inside of me until he's ready to survive on his own." Hippolyta then asks Diana, "Would you like to know his name?" And once seeing her daughter nod, she answers, "His name is Naruto." "Now come on, we will have to announce this to the rest of our sisters." She and her daughter walked back to the place to announce that the first male Amazon will be born. Hippolyta smiles as she was walking to a meeting with her fellow Amazons about her son of now 6 months. Even through the morning sickness up to the pain of labor, as soon as she saw her beautiful baby boy's face, she knew it was all worth it. She was glad that the boy kept some of his former features, like his ocean blue eyes and his whiskers on his cheeks. Well, there was for sure a resemblance between the two. Once Diana saw her baby brother for the first time, she became the overprotective big sister that would never let anything happen to him. She treated Naruto as though he was fragile and tried to be as careful as possible. It seemed that Naruto, however, never wanted Diana to feel bad for holding him in an uncomfortable way by not crying or even whimpering in discomfort. Hippolyta and the other Amazons realized this was when anyone besides Diana and his mother tried to hold the boy, he would scream out as if someone was trying to kill him. Well, the child did calm down and let others hold him. They all knew whom Naruto's favorites were. Hippolyta arrives at the meeting with Diana and Naruto in her daughter's arms. She sees that most of the eyes in the room are aimed towards her son, and while most of them were jealous how he cuddled in Diana's arms, but there is those few that's still angry that there could eventually be possible for a man to become their leader. "So we are here to discuss the future of my son, correct?" The queen of Themyscira asked as she took her seat with her daughter sitting next to her, but Diana's focus was completely on her baby brother. An Amazon whom had been adamant against Naruto's birthright replies, "Several of us believe that he should never be allowed to become our leader." As everyone hears the venom in her voice. "Why should the prince of Themyscira not be allowed to become king if he so chooses?" Hippolyta questioned her fellow Themyscira. The woman shouted, "Because men are corrupt and he will cause our society to crumble." "So you have no belief in Hera's champion?" Hippolyta responded, not knowing how much longer she could that the woman insulting her precious son. But before anyone could say anything else, a certain toddler squirmed his way out of Diana's clutches and slowly crawled towards the woman whom seemed to be against him. Diana, thinking that Naruto was getting into big trouble for interrupting the meeting and was getting up to retrieve him, however Hippolyta stopped her, wanting to see if the fierce Amazon would change her tune when faced against her little bundle of joy. Naruto, after making his way over to the woman, plopped right in front of her, hold his little arms. Not knowing what else to do, the woman carefully picked up the child and cradled the boy in her arms as if an instinct had kicked in. Naruto began to snuggle into the woman and she muttered out, "I guess not all men are corrupt." Because just from holding the boy she realized how pure and innocent he was. Hippolyta was not having a good day, as her fellow sisters have constantly came to her to complain about Naruto's most recent prank. Everyone knew that Naruto did it, even though they had no proof other than the fact that all of their clothes and armor was now the boy's favorite color, orange. The reason why all of the Amazons came to their queen was she was the only one that the 9-year-old boy could never hide from. At first Hippolyta decided to decline to request, as she saw no harm in what her son had done and she understood why he did it. However, after nearly all of her sister Amazons faced the wrath of the Prince of Themyscira, she decided to retrieve her son to face the consequences of his actions. Naruto was laughing wildly about his prank over his fellow sisters because he knew that no one that he pranked would find him. He found his prank hilarious and was more of a revenge for the way that his sisters would tease him constantly. His good time ended abruptly when he heard a hem from behind him, and when he turned around it was revealed to be his mother. Naruto scratched the back of his head and chuckled, "Hi mom, what are you doing here?" Knowing he was in trouble if his mother actually come to get him. "Well, my precious prince, I have had constant complaints about Amazons having their garments colored orange and I was wondering if you knew anything about that," Hippolyta stated. She saw the reaction when she called him her precious prince and he became rather angry. Her motherly instincts took over as she kneeled to his eye level. She smiled while running her fingers through his raven hair that had golden tips. "I know you don't like it when the others call you prince to tease you, but even if I was not the queen of Themyscira, you would still my precious prince." Without hesitation, the young boy wrapped his arms around his mother as she follows suit and the two have a touching moment. Naruto asks, "I have to face all of those whom I pranked, right mother?" As his mother nodded and the boy quickly released himself from his mother's grasp, he shouts, "I bet I can beat you there." Hippolyta chuckled at her son's antics, and while she has and will have to deal with things like this for all time, she also could not imagine her life without her little ball of sunshine. In the throne room, Naruto stood by his mother's side as his sister Amazon scolded him about his pranks. While the Amazons thought he was looking down at the floor in shame of his actions, it was actually because Naruto knew that he would laugh at his masterpiece and ruin any chance of him getting out of this situation. "Well, do you have anything say for yourself, young man?" One of the Amazons that Naruto knew was on his mother's council. This was his chance as he began to make his eyes water and his lip quiver. "I just thought that you all wearing orange would make all my sisters more beautiful because it was my favorite color. I didn't mean to make you all mad." All of the Amazons immediately fell for the boy's charm and glomped him with hugs and kisses, saying how they forgave their prince. None of the women noticed the smirk on the boy's face, showing he got away with his epic prank without even a slap on the wrist. Later, Naruto was walking with Diana towards their room and she decides to ask a question that is on her mind. "So why was I left out of your prank, Naruto?" "Who said I hadn't?" Her baby brother smirked as he ran towards his own room. Diana, not noticing that her room was slightly open and she quickly barged into the room to see what he had done. However, when she walked through the doorway, a can full of orange paint fell onto her head, covering the Amazon in orange. For a few moments, the woman was silent as her rage began building until finally she exploded Naruto. Loud enough for all of the Amazons to hear her. Hippolyta was exhausted for being the peacekeeper between her two children, even though she knew her daughter would never harm her little brother. The war between the two really got fired up when Diana accidentally let slip that if his whisker birthmarks are rubbed, he lets out a purring sound that he had no control over. This caused every Amazon within earshot to immediately want to try and test this. While her son was trying to escape from the Amazons to no avail, Hippolyta wondered if her son would have actually pranked his sister if she did not ask him why he left her out. The queen of Themyscira was just about to lay down for the night when she hears a voice from behind her. "Hera's champion sure is a handful, isn't he?" Hippolyta turns around and is stunned to see the goddess Athena standing in her presence holding something. "Yes, Lady Athena, but I can't even imagine my life without him." Bowing towards the goddess. "No need to bow to me in your own palace, Hippolyta," the goddess responded. The queen of Themyscira, curious why the goddess grace her with her presence. "If I am not being rude, but why have you come here, my lady?" "I came here to bring Hera's champion a gift." Athena answered, "Bring up a fox kit that was slumbering into the light." Hippolyta asks, "A fox kit?" Confused because Athena has not relations with foxes. "Yes, she will be a perfect companion with for young Naruto, trust me." Athena replies and hands the young fox to the queen. Athena says, "Now that I have completed my mission, I will be on my way, so good luck, Hippolyta." leaving the queen with the young fox. Hippolyta laid the fox down at the end of her bed and laid down to fall asleep. However, the fox did not like her place as she got up and climbed atop the queen and laid down on her chest. Hippolyta smiled as this reminded her of when Naruto slept on her chest while Diana cuddled to her side, not wanting to be far from her new baby brother. Naruto received a message stating that his mother needed to speak with him as soon as possible. The prince sighed, believing that his mother was going to punish him for the previous day, and took his time. As he approached his mother's throne, she speaks, "My son, I am glad you have come. So what is my punishment?" Naruto asks, wanting to get this over with as quickly as possible. Hippolyta raises her eyebrow and questions punishment. "Whatever do you mean, my precious prince?" Even though she knew exactly what he meant. "I figured that you called me here because of what I did yesterday," the young prince stated as his curiosity began to grow. His mother smiled. "No, I think Diana gave you punishment enough. I actually called you here because I wanted you to meet someone." As the fox jumped off the throne towards the young boys. "This female fox kid is Athena's gift to you," Hippolyta explains while the fox licking her son, causing him to laugh. "What is her name?" Naruto wheezed out between laughing fits. His mother stated, "That is your duty, my son, she is your companion." Naruto looks the fox in the eyes and says, "How about Dini? Do you like that girl?" To which the fox yipped and licked his face, showing she liked that name. "Where did you come up with that name, my son?" Hippolyta asked, curious how he came up with an interesting name so quickly. The Prince of Themyscira shrugged, "I don't know. It just came to me. And Dini is Greek for maelstrom. I wonder if it came from his previous life," Hippolyta thought, then stated, "Well, give me Dini while you go take a bath, my stinky child." Pinching her nose to make her point clear. Her son nodded and handed his new friend over and rushed to the bathhouses because the quicker he got clean, the quicker he could play with his new friend. Naruto arrived at the Themyscira bathhouses and went up to the secretary. "Hello, I am here to use my private bath." As because he was the first male of Themyscira, he was given a special room for him to use. The woman smiled and gave him the key, and he rushed to the room, not noticing the 10 teenage Amazons overhearing the situation and followed him. Naruto quickly got in the room and started washing himself, not hearing the Amazons that had followed him opening the door. "Girls, I think that our prince needs some help washing himself." Naruto quickly turns around and shields his eyes as there stood 10 naked Amazons. The Amazon teased the boy, "No need shield your eyes, my prince, we know that you bath with our queen and Diana on occasion." The girls ignored his pleas to left him wash himself and washed the young boy like an older sibling would. In a different dimension and in the afterlife, a group of people were wondering what had happened to their loved one. They were worried when they were told he had passed, but that never arrived in the afterlife. The Shinigami finally found him and told them that he was taken to another dimension by a god and reborn. The death god said that he could show how their loved one after he was reborn and how he turned out. "I can't wait to see how my student is doing in this new world." A long gray-haired man stated, excited to see his student for the first time since his death. The blonde woman agreed, "I am curious as well how the Brad is doing at his second chance at childhood. At least you had time to spend with him, Jiraiya and Tsunade. I just want to see my baby boy." A red-haired woman. Her husband responded, "Calm down, Kushina, you will get to see Naruto soon." Trying to calm down his wife but to no avail. "You have not room to talk either as you got to meet him as well." Kushina explained, punching him in the arm with force. The Shinigami stepped in. "Now he may look a little different being reborn from a different mother, but I am certain that it is him." "How can you be certain if he looks different?" Minato asks, not doubting the death god but curious how he can be so certain. The death god stated he still has the same chakra signature as his past life, as well as still having the 9-tailed fox sealed inside of him. The now 13-year-old Prince of Themyscira was in the forest surrounding his home, performing an activity he had learned that he enjoyed, drawing. While pranking was still by far his favorite hobby, drawing helped him to relax. Naruto then thought back to the time where he first learned about how good he was at drawing. One night Naruto had a dream about a red-headed woman and a blonde-haired man that he asked his mother about them. He just gave the best description that the young boy could, but Hippolyta did not know whom these people were. Frustrated the boy. Naruto marched to his room frustrated, but his mood changed when got an idea and sat at his desk that was besides his bed. The boy picked up his colored pencils and began to draw the silhouette of the women that plagued his dreams. A strange thing happened, however. It was almost as if the lines were already on the paper and all Naruto had to do was trace and color the picture in. Naruto spent the next hour on his work to make it as perfect as possible, hoping that his mother would know whom it was. The Queen of Themyscira was concerned about how her son was frustrated about the people of his dreams and how she could not help him. It was that when Naruto was frustrated about something, he began pranking, and the longer she waited the more concerned. Hippolyta was relieved when her precious son rushed over to her throne. Hippolyta saw that he was holding something and asked, "What is that you have in your hands, my precious Naruto?" You said you didn't know her from my description of the lady in my dreams, so I thought maybe if I drew her it would help. Naruto explained, handing the pad over to her. His mother smiled, but as she looked down at the drawing, she was stunned by what she saw. Instead of a crude drawing like Diana drew when she was his age, the drawing of his son was very beautiful and detailed. All of the features that her son described were there, from her beautiful long red hair to her kind violet eyes to her warm smile. I am sorry, Naruto, but I have never seen this woman before, but I bet whoever it is would be honored by your drawing of her. Hippolyta solemnly stated, knowing her son would still be upset about not knowing who she was. Naruto looked down, as even with all of the details from the drawing, he could not figure out whom that mystery woman was. Then a light went off his head as her grabbed a paper pad from his mother's hands and flipped it to a new page. He sat down in front of his mother's throne to begin quickly drawing something on the paper, and when Hippolyta would try to sneak a peek, he would cover it up. When the boy was finished, he arisen from his seating position and stated, I know it isn't colored, but do you like this one? Handing the pad back to her. The image that her son had just drew brought a tear to her eye, as it was a drawing of her on her throne as she was at that moment. Hippolyta picks up her son and places him on her lap. I love it, Naruto. Thank you. Giving the boy a kiss on his cheek, causing him to giggle. I can take it in my room to color it if you want. Naruto cheerfully exclaimed after making his mother happy. Hippolyta rips the paper out of pad and shakes her head. No, I love it just the way it is. However, what do you think Diana will think if you made me a drawing but not her? This caused Naruto's facial expression change to horror as he bolted towards his room to make his sister a drawing to avoid her wrath, not noticing the slight smirk on Queen's face. After spending an hour creating a drawing for Diana to save himself from her wrath, he began rushing the streets, hoping to find her before he finds out. Naruto finally found her talking with a group of Amazons and sprinted to her, tapping on her side to get her attention. Diana turned around to see her precious little brother. Is there something you need? Naruto smiling at the boy. Naruto answers, well, I made mother one of these and she reminded me that you would get mad if I didn't make you one as well. Handing a large piece of paper to Diana. Diana smiled at the thought of Naruto making something for her for no particular reason, but she tears up slightly at the beautiful drawing. The drawing was one of her most precious memories, as it was a 4-year-old Naruto cuddled up in her arms. The memory was of Naruto rushed into her bedroom terrified of the storm that was outside, and she confronted him as he fell asleep in her arms. Diana asks, how did you make this, Naruto? Knowing that Naruto was probably too young to remember that night. The Prince of Themyscira responds, I don't know, I just thought of the picture that you keep in your room and it appeared on the paper, so all I had to do draw the lines. Do you like it? Having a big grin on his face. Yes, Naruto, I will cherish this forever. Diana smiles while giving the boy a hug. Naruto was so happy that he was unaware of the jealous looks he was getting. The rest of the Prince of Themyscira's day consisted of outrunning all of the jealous Amazons, whom also wanted a drawing for the boy. The more that Naruto thought of that day, the more he thought that his mother actually planned for all of the Amazons to become jealous and badger him constantly. Especially since that the more time that he spent drawing, the less time he would have pranking, which made his mother's life easier. He was finishing the drawing for the last Amazon that was left, Dana, the newest Amazon. Dana was created as a duplicate of Diana by the sorceress Magala as a companion to Naruto and Diana, even though Dana was closer to Naruto's age than Diana. The Amazons first heard of this, however, was when in a morning meeting it was revealed that an enemy of Hippolyta, Dark Angel, kidnapped the girl. While Naruto shouted that they have to help the girl, but his mother and the other Amazons in the room agreed that it was too dangerous as of right now and he not need to concern himself with such matters. That was not the answer that Naruto was looking for as he stormed out of the room in anger, deciding that if he would have to he would do it by himself. The Prince of Themyscira spent the entire day trying to find the location of this Dark Angel to rescue this girl. That night he left the island of his birth for the first time in his life, but it seemed as a light from the heavens not only protected the boy, guiding him as well. When Naruto arrived at the island and immediately went into stealth mode, sneaking throughout his mother enemy's lair. The boy was expecting to sneak past minions, but there were none, which confused the boy that the only inhabitants on this island were Dark Angel and her prisoner. Naruto finally arrived at the room where the kidnapped girl and she was in a deep sleep, much like one of those fairy tales his mother told him. The moment was interrupted with Dark Angel coming into the room, immediately attacking the boy, whom dodged it rather easily. While Naruto was able to charge the woman and land a blow, it only seemed to piss off Dark Angel more as she threw the boy against a wall at full power, knocking Naruto out cold. However, when the boy woke up from his slumber, he was walking towards the shore not knowing what had happened. Naruto had no time to think about that as he took a few more steps and saw his mother, sister, and several Amazons with angry looks on their faces. Naruto was finishing the drawing for his newest sister Dana, and even though all of the trouble that he got into for rescuing her, he knew that he would do it again in a heartbeat. His mother asked the girl what her name was, but she told the queen that she never was given one. Hippolyta decided to give her the name Donna to give her a similar name to the Amazon she was a replicate of, but a different name, so that she could find her own identity. The newly named Donna was ecstatic about her name and spent the next days into weeks spending time with other Amazons, trying to bond with them while finding her own identity, with the exception of one that was in constant punishment. As he was finishing up the drawing, he heard the girl whom he was expecting walking down the path. Instead of jumping down and begin the training that he promised Donna, he let her walk by so that he could sneak up on her. Naruto dropped from his perch and grabbed her sides, frightening the teenage girl, but giving himself enough time to the incoming onslaught. Seeing whom had just attacked her and shouts in frustration, "Naruto, why did you do that?" With her face getting redder. "Because it was funny." Naruto laughs with a shrug, immediately dodging one of Donna's punches. The boy handed her the drawing with a slight smile on his face. "Here you go, I finally finished this for you." Donna looks down at the beautiful drawing of herself as she began to tear up and she mutters thank you. Not knowing what else to say. "I am glad you like it, but I think you came for some training." Naruto replies, knowing the Amazon is trying to put up a strong front in front of him. Donna wiped the tears from her eyes. "Yes, and this time I am going to beat you." Smiling, while handing the drawing back over to Naruto so that it would not get ruined. Naruto places the drawing up in the tree that he was previously perched in and taunted Donna, "Well, show me what you have got, baby sister." Knowing how much she hated being the youngest on the island. That did it as the female Themysciran charged her male counterpart with him easily, but destroying the tree behind him. Naruto constantly dodged the barrage of Donna punches and kicks, leaving down trees in her wake. The Prince of Themyscira realized that his mother would be upset if too much of her forest got destroyed by their battle, and instead of dodging the next punch, he caught it. Naruto smirked, "Sorry, but I can't allow you to destroy mother's forest, Donna." Tossing her into a tree as lightly as he could. Donna saw this as an opportunity to land her first blows on Naruto and fake shrieks out in pain, "Ah, my leg. Are you okay?" Naruto asked as he rushed over to the leg Donna was holding, worried that he injured her. The boy, however, did not see his opponent smile as she shouts "Gotcha." And in her excitement punches the boy as hard as possibly could, sending him through a few trees, knocking him out cold. Donna's mood changed from excitement to panic as she rushed over to Naruto, shouting at him to wake up. After a few seconds, Donna picked him up and carried him back to the palace, hoping that someone could help him, not knowing that it was not entirely her fault that Naruto had not awoken yet. Naruto awoke in a sewer-like area with a serious headache and chuckled, "Maybe I shouldn't have teased her so much." He began to look around at his surroundings and was curious that he did not recognize where he was and did not see Donna anywhere in sight. "Where am I?" the Prince of Themyscira asked aloud. "We are in your mindscape, partner." A booming voice stated from behind Naruto, causing him to quickly turn around to see a towering nine-tailed fox in a cage. Naruto showed no fear looking at a beast that looked as though he could easily devour him whole. "What do you mean by partner, and why are you in mindscape behind a cage?" "It would be easier if I just showed you." The fox answered, holding his right paw in a fist, reaching outside the cage towards Naruto. After seeing Naruto stand there not doing anything, the fox growls in frustration, "Just tap your fist against mine and all will be explained." Naruto, not sensing any negative emotions other than frustration, decided to listen to the fox. As soon as they touched, Naruto began to flash through all of the memories of his past life, both the good and the bad, at a quick pace. Naruto took a deep breath to process all of this information and smiled at his friend, "So I am guessing I can still use Chakra, Kurama." "Of course, how do you think you can beat those warrior women without you tapping into some chakra subconsciously?" Kurama responded. "So do you know why we are here?" the boy asked, hoping the nine-tailed fox would know something about why the gods needed them. Kurama sighed, "I do know some, but I was sworn to secrecy from the female god as it will affect your future here." As the tone of his voice shows that he felt horrible from keeping anything from the first human to acknowledge him since his father. Naruto sees this and smiles, "I know you would never keep something from me that would harm me, Kurama, so I put all of my trust in you." "Thank you, Naruto. No, you must leave as your Amazon women are worried about you. I bet your former sensei is jealous of you," Kurama states with a smile on his face. That statement got a chuckle out of that. "You are right, pervy sage would probably give anything to be in my shoes right now." However, before leaving his mindscape, Naruto smiles and says, "Thank you for helping me to rescue Donna. It is all because you changed me," Naruto the tailed beast thought before laying back down for his usual nap. Naruto awoken, and as he went to move his arms to get up from the bed, he realized that there was weight holding them down. He looked to his right and smiled sadly as he sees Donna cuddling against his side quite tightly. The boy knew why she was doing this, as she was probably terrified of the possibility that he would be angry with her. Naruto then looked to his left only to see Diana sitting in a chair beside his bed while resting her head on his arm. The voice from the other side of the room spoke, "I am glad you are okay my son, as you can see we were all worried." As she walked over to Naruto. Her son smiles, "It was not all your fault, apparently my partner that was sealed inside of me from my past life used it as an opportunity to talk with me." Naruto then saw the flinch from his mother and for some reason could tell how she was feeling. "Even though you are not my first mother, you still are my mother and I love you the same as I have my other one. Hoping to make you feel better." The Polita wiped the tear from her eye and smiles at her beloved son, "You need to get your rest so you can tell me and these two about everything that happened." Talking about the other two in the room. "Alright mom, good night, I love you." Naruto replies, closing his eyes as he was still tired from the day's events. The Queen of Themyscira kisses her son on the forehead and wishes him sweet dreams, smiling that even though he knows about his past life, her Naruto did not change. Naruto had spent the past 4 years training his chakra, with the help of Kurama, to reach the prime of his past life. This included relearning all of his techniques from the Shadow Clone Jutsu to the Rasengan and its variants, as well as relearning how to use Kurama's chakra properly. During his chakra training however, Naruto learned that he now had a dual element affinity to add to his wind and was curious if the god that brought him here had something to do with it. The prince learned from his mother that it was the goddess Hera that brought him here from the day he told her, along with Diana and Donna, about his past life. Kurama insisted on bringing them into Naruto's mindscape as it would be much easier for them to just see it rather than Naruto trying to explain it to them. While the trio of females only got glimpses of Naruto's life, one thing that the girls fixated on was his childhood. They did not see much of it, but they saw a small boy that was not giving any amount of love except for a select few because of something that was out of his control. This caused the women to squeeze the boy in a vice grip hug once they were out of said mindscape. Kurama was laughing hysterically at his partner as his begging to let him go fell on deaf ears as he struggled to breathe from the Amazonian hug. Once free, Naruto told his mother and sisters that it is fine that because of them he was able to know what growing up surrounded by love felt like. This put him back into the predicament that he just was released from as he was ensnared in another Amazonian hug from the trio. These were the thoughts that rushed through Naruto's mind on his way to the arena where he promised to spar with Diana and Donna. As he trained to use his chakra once more, Naruto became one of if not the strongest people on the island. There were 3 women that constantly asking him to train with them, which are Diana, Donna and Artemis. Artemis was always considered one of the strongest Amazons and once Naruto began to beat her on a consistent basis. At first she was angry that a man was beating her, but after Artemis realized that her prince was not hoarding it over her and actually wanted to help her get stronger, she became less hostile and began to enjoy the sparring sessions with the young man. Naruto arrived at the arena and smiled at the 2 Amazon women whom looked like they were waiting for him. "So are you two both ready?" the prince asked. Anna exclaimed, "That's right, and this time we will beat you." Getting into her battle stance while Diana nodded in agreement. Naruto held out his hand signaling them to wait, which confused the two until he shouts, "You can come out, Artemis." As the 3rd Amazon came out of the shadows. "I can never get anything by you, my prince." Artemis responds with a smile on her face that confused the other 2 Amazons because she rarely smiled unless in combat. Naruto responds, "Well, we are having a spar, why don't you join to see if the 3 of you can beat me?" While noticing the glares he was on the receiving end from Diana and Donna. "As if I need their help to beat you, my prince." Artemis scoffs, which only angered the other 2 Amazons. Trying to defuse the situation, Naruto with a smile on his face states, "Well, Diana and Donna's tag team is the only way I have suffered a defeat since my 15th birthday. So how about we get the match started?" Once he sees the 3 are in a battle stance, he performs his signature technique, multi-shadow clone jutsu, and sends a wave of hundreds towards the 3. The Amazons were having no trouble with disrupting the clones as their enhanced punches and kicks, knocking out the clones in one blow. After about 3 minutes none of the 500 shadow clones remained, but as the trio of Amazons looked around the arena, their real opponent was nowhere to be seen. Artemis angrily shouts, "Come on out and fight us like a true Themysciran warrior." Thinking that he was hiding while Diana and Donna were worried that Naruto was up to something. "Actually, I never was hiding, I was merely using my clones as a way to see how much you 3 have improved." A voice comes from behind them. They turn around to see Naruto in a meditative position that puzzled them as he continues, "But after realizing that I owed the 3 of you more of a challenge, so I decided to take it up a notch." Opening his eyes, revealing that they were no longer ocean blue, but yellow with his pupil was a horizontal bar with orange around his eye. While 2 of the females were cautious about the change of Naruto's appearance, Artemis laughed, "I guess we'll have to beat that makeup off your face." As she charges the boy. This did not give the other 2 Amazons time to warn her, and she throws a punch at his face, only for Naruto to dodge while sighing. Naruto counterattacked in a similar manner with Artemis, seems to easily dodge the attack. The Amazon smiles for a second thinking she evaded the fist, but she suddenly felt a severe pain on her cheekbone, then immediately flew back into the arena wall, knocking her out of the fight. Diana was the first to speak. I am guessing Artemis does not know about the extended reach that you have when you are in your sage mode. Yes, I thought she would learn better from our previous spars. The Prince of Themyscira sighs at the Amazon, still letting her pride rule all of decisions when it came to the art of battle. Naruto smiles as looks at his other two opponents. At least I can see how much you two have learned since our last spar. Getting into a fighting stance, signaling for them to come at him. The two Amazon warriors look at each other before charging at Naruto, with Diana attacking from his right and Donna his left. Naruto immediately felt the two were not holding anything back as they decided to block the first punches from the woman and quickly realized that if he was not in sage mode, he would have two broken arms. Naruto then quickly grabs their wrists and tosses them in the opposite directions, allowing for a few seconds to prepare for their next strike. While Diana had no trouble landing flawlessly, allowing her to charge back at the male, Donna was not so lucky as she landed awkwardly that caused her retaliation to be delayed a few seconds. Diana noticed this quickly and knew that she would need to keep Naruto on the defensive while Donna recovers as she sends a flurry punches trying to land a blow. Naruto, while dodging all of the Amazon's attacks, begins to see a pattern in them, so he takes advantage of that as he lands a blow to her face, forcing her a few steps backwards. Naruto notices the smirk on his elder's face as she wipes the blood dribbling out of the corner of her mouth and realizes that it was a trap and turns his attention towards Donna to barely be able to block her incoming attack. This, however, gave Diana the perfect opportunity to swiftly land an uppercut, sending her opponent flying backwards a good 10 feet. While the two Amazons were in a fighting stance ready for whatever comes next, they hear their opponent chuckling as he gets up. I think that is enough for today. The two are stunned to see that their efforts were not only successful in landing a blow on him in sage mode, but knocked the young man out of the mode as well. Naruto walks over to the two, smiling. I am very impressed, and even though I am not as able to maintain my sage mode as I was in my past life, the act of knocking me out of it is a feat that is quite impressive. Diana replies, you were probably just joking around, and if you were serious you could have taken us down easily. Not thinking it was the big deal that the Prince of Themyscira was making it out to be. Well, yes, if I used more of my offensive abilities, I could have ended the fight rather easily. Don't think for a second that I was not going 100% to see how far you two have come. Naruto sternly responds, giving her a look to know he is dead serious. The boy's expression changes immediately. What do you say we go get these injuries checked out? Picking up a still unconscious Artemis in a bridal style carry. Diana smiles, I will have to take a rain check as I have to talk to mother about something important. Then immediately began to leave the arena, not leaving any opportunity for a rebuttal. What is her problem? Donna asked, confused by her fellow Amazon's actions. The prince eyes, something that's going to be troublesome. Then proceeded to chuckle at what just came out of his mouth and how it sounded like a certain lazy ass. Come on, let's go get you two checked out. Naruto states, and once he sees the girl nod, he proceeds to walk towards the infirmary with Donna close behind. The walk to the infirmary was excruciating for Naruto as he could sense all of the jealousy that he was the main focus of. The moment he unlocked his chakra, Naruto learned that he had a new ability that he did not ever come across in his past life, let alone actually having, which was empathy. Naruto immediately thought that Kurama had something to do with it but was shocked when Kurama was just as surprised as he was about it. The wise fox stated that the only time he ever came in the presence of this ability was in his first Jinchuriki Mito Uzumaki. Naruto asked the obvious question that if he has this ability, why did it never come up in his past life? Kurama smirked at the boy, stating that he was probably just too stupid to notice that he was an empath in his past life, in hopes of riling up the boy. After the fox decided to give the boy an honest response and told him that it was likely that he did have it in a much smaller capacity, how else could he have connected and changed the hearts of so many people without being able to read other emotions to a degree? Naruto sighs in relief as the three finally arrived at their destination, and while Donna went with one of her fellow Amazons to have her wounds treated, Naruto carried Artemis to an empty room. The young man laid the Amazon on the bed and sat in the chair beside the woman to begin to speak to her. Artemis, I am disappointed in your actions today. I thought that our sparring sessions would change your attitude so that you would work together with Diana and Donna. However, it still looks like you are stuck in your ways of trying to become the strongest Amazon on your own. For the look on Diana's face earlier, she senses that the outside world is in trouble and needs our help, so we won't be back for a while. I am trusting you with this so that if any of you need my help I can flash here in an instant. Naruto instantly disappears from the room, leaving only a three-pronged kunai with seals drawn on the hilt in the woman's hand as proof of him ever being in the room to begin with. Naruto arrived at his mother's palace just in time to hear his mother and sister's conversation, and his suspicion was correct. Diana was telling their mother that the outside world was in trouble and needed their help, while Hippolyta stated that it was not their place and she should leave it be. Diana, not liking her mother's answer, stormed out in a huff while Hippolyta shook her head, knowing that this is not over. You do know that she will leave with her without your approval. Naruto spoke up, revealing himself from his hiding position. Hippolyta responds, she should realize that it is not our duty to protect the outside world and that no matter what happens, as long as we believe in the gods, they will protect us. Not even bothering to ask how he knew, as Naruto probably felt the outside world's distress before Diana. Naruto smiles because he knows he has the perfect comeback to her statement, well, maybe you should have not raised used to care so much about others if you wanted us to think like that. Seeing his mother grit her teeth at the fact that he had her trapped, he continues, how about you and I have a duel, and if I win us three can leave, but if you win we will stay here and never bring it up again. I accept your challenge, meet me at the arena in 30 minutes, but do not think that I will go easy on you because you are my little boy. His mother smiled at Naruto lovingly. Naruto grinned, I would not want it any other way. As he rushed towards his room to prepare for his battle. Hippolyta chuckled at her son's antics as she retreats to her chambers to prepare for the match with her son. Naruto was walking to the arena in an outfit was familiar to him, or at least in his past life. He was donning a pair dark green pants with a matching vest with the Uzumaki symbol displayed on the back and a pair of blue open-toe sandals, similar to what a jonin from Konoha would wear. The only visual difference between his outfit and one of a Konoha jonin is that instead of a dark undershirt, he wore an orange one. He was given this outfit as gift from Hephaestus when his mother as well as select Amazon were given armor as gifts. His first set of armor that the god gave him was way too bulky, and Naruto thanked the god for the gift but kindly refused the gift, stating that it would hinder his fighting rather than help. The god took this as a challenge, as with some design choices from his mother, Hera came back the next day with a new and improved set for the boy. Naruto took the new set of armor that was much more flexible and lighter than the previous. The prince thanked the god and stated that he would wear the armor with pride. Naruto walked into the arena hoping that his mother decided not to wear the armor that was given, but that wasn't the case, much to his disappointment. Check profile to see armor. Hippolyta saw the redness in her son's face and decides that this is a perfect teasing opportunity. What's the matter, my prince? There is no need to be embarrassed thinking that your mother is beautiful. Leaning on her sword slightly. Being flustered, Naruto shouts, can we just start this? Drawing out his two tri-pronged kunai and prepared himself. Very well, come at me, my prince. The queen bringing her sword up into a fighting stance. Naruto charged at his mother, trying to trap her sword between the two so that he could disarm her, but Hippolyta realized quickly as she swung her blade preemptively at one of the kunai with enough force to dislodge it from Naruto's hand. The prince instantaneously propelled himself towards his fallen kunai but had to swiftly dodge his mother's blade while retrieving it. This put Naruto in a defensive position as all he could do is dodge Hippolyta's slashes, so to change the tide, he decided to take a risk and instead of dodging, used both of his kunai to block the slash and used all of his force to toss his mother a few feet backwards. This allowed the young man to counterattack with Hippolyta slightly off guard, but instead of giving his mother a wound that could seriously injure her by slashing a kunai near her throat, he slashed at her face, leaving only a superficial wound. Hippolyta sighed in disapproval, knowing that she taught her son better when it came to fighting and decided to teach him a lesson. She quickly slashed her sword, creating a deep gash in her son's face from his right ear to his chin. Naruto jumped a few feet back with a hurt look on his face until his partner explained while healing him, your mother was disappointed that you hesitated and went for a minor wound when you could have landed a more serious blow ending this match. If you want to win your mother's approval, you will have to give it everything you have, even if it means hurting her. Kurama already explained, mother, and I am not mad. Naruto states after looking up to see his mother try to explain while his wound is healing. Hippolyta smiled slightly at the fact that her son understood but had no time to savor moment as Naruto launched one of his kunai at her. She easily blocked the kunai but is not able to stop Naruto's attack as her slashed the back of her hand, making her wince in pain. The wound loosened the grip on her sword, allowing Naruto's swift kick to the hand, sending the blade 10 feet away. After landing a punch to his face, sending him a few feet away, Hippolyta smiles at her precious son, I see that you realize that your best chance to defeat me is without my blade. However, before Naruto can respond, Hippolyta went on a full-out offensive, knocking the second kunai out of his hands. At first Hippolyta thought that her son had not learned his lesson, but after following his eye movements, she quickly realized that her son did have a plan and that she had to finish this quickly. This made her slightly careless as after a missed punch Naruto was able to get behind her, but for reasons she could not understand, instead of finishing the battle, he only gave her a light tap on the back. Hippolyta then proceeded to land a back fist, sending the young man flying in the direction on one of his downed kunai. Thinking that the battle was over due to her sonnet moving, Hippolyta began to state, "I guess I win and you three will." When she was interrupted when her son's body teleported away. "Mother yield." A voice behind her says in a monotone voice, holding his kunai to her neck close enough to draw blood. Hippolyta smiles as she knew that she was beaten. "I guess you put a tag on me when you got behind me then." As the young man removed the weapon from her throat and she turns to face him. "Of course I had to put a fast one if I wanted to win against the Queen of Themyscira." The prince boasted, even though they both knew that at 100% there was no chance that Hippolyta would stand a chance. "Stop being so humble." Hippolyta chuckles as she pulls the boy in for a hug. Without even seeing his mother shed a few tears, Naruto responds, "I am going to miss you too." As he brings his mother into a tighter embrace. Once the embrace was finished, Naruto brought her hands to his as they began glowing orange and her wound was rapidly healing. "You better go to Diana or she will probably leave without you." The queen says, and once Naruto turns around and starts running she shouts, "Please be careful." Naruto responded by turning around with a smirk on his face, "You know me better than that, mother." And then continues towards his destination. Hippolyta was now alone with her thoughts, but only one made her chuckle. "I hope you have better luck in the man's world with fangirls than you do here at home." Diana had spent the evening preparing for her trip by putting on her battle armor to help with whatever is going wrong in the man's world was nagging at her, leaving Naruto and Donna behind. The three had grown very close over the years that she almost could not imagine life without them, however, wanted to protect them from any danger was then probably the biggest motivator to go to the man's world and help. Just as she was about to leave, a voice came from her windowsill startling her, "You did not think you were going to leave without me." "Naruto, I am leaving against mother's wishes and I do not want you to do the same." Diana replies after regaining her bearings. Naruto laughs, "Well, I already got mother's permission for the three of us to leave the Themyscira." "What did you do, beat her in combat?" Diana asks, as that is the only way that their mother would ever let them leave. After seeing Naruto nod, she sighs, "I guess I will go and make sure Donna gets ready then." "Why don't we save the world and I will come back for her later?" Naruto asks, hoping for the response he was looking for. Knowing that Naruto was being his usual protective self when it came to Donna, Diana sighs, "You do realize how pissed she is going to be at you for leaving her behind?" And once seeing him nod she agrees. Naruto smirks, "I'll race you." Proceeding to jump out the window and bolt towards his destination without hearing her answer. Diana shook her head negatively while muttering under her breath, calling the boy an idiot while going after him, but using the door like a normal person. The end. Thanks for watching, also remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.